just turned 2 o'clock, and this is a meeting of the CDC. Before we start, and a lot of you were wondering why I'm not there when I tell people to be there, but I tested for positive for COVID this morning, so I thought it'd be better if I stayed away from you. Otherwise, you'd be all blaming me and putting claims in. So, straight on to item 1, which is apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies from Councillor Stewart Rice.
Okay. Before I go on to disclosures of interest, remiss of me not to welcome Sarah to the meeting. She'll be presenting item 4. We've got Scott from Legal, yeah? We've got Scott. Philip Holmes is with us as he is every month. And nobody else. Caroline is there making sure everything goes smoothly with IT. Any disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest? No. And item 3 is to approve and sign the minutes of the previous meeting as a correct record, and they're on there, pages 1 and 2. Will somebody move as a correct record?
Yes, Chair, I move.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. All agreed? Thank you very much. Straight on to item 4, which is our first report that we've asked for as a CDC, and that is the Residents Rewards app. Sarah will take us through that, and then when she's finished, unless you want somebody to throw questions as you're going through, Sarah.
Yes, I can do that.
And after that, then we decide where we go from here. Okay, Sarah, it's over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, and as highlighted at the beginning of the report, the introduction of discounts, loyalty points and rewards for residents of Swansea is a policy commitment. But to achieve this, we need close links on a day-to-day basis with traders, retailers and other private sector organisations to do that. So the Council is therefore partnering with BID, the Business Improvement District, who already have those links and relationships with business, but also they have an existing infrastructure as well, an existing gift and loyalty card scheme, as you'll be aware, in terms of Big Heart of Swansea. So when we're looking at this app, the Residents app, it can provide not only discounts and rewards, but also the ability for residents to add information about themselves. So, for example, you can put on your dietary preferences, and the app would then recommend places where you might want to eat or offers in certain restaurants, and it's based on those preferences and also where you might be. So if you're already in town, then it's going to say, well, the nearest place to you where you are now is over here. It also would have a range of other features. So we're looking at things like being able to report suspect packages, being able to scan QR codes as well, not just in shops but around town. And then we're at the minute looking at whether we could put on where all the defibrillators are and things like that. So we're constantly looking at things that new functionality we could add in. So just to summarise the benefits we think of the app would be, so obviously discounts and the ability for residents to accrue loyalty points. We're hoping that this will help to increase some footfall into the city centre. It would give us a model to roll out to other wards and high streets. So although we're starting in the city centre, then the plan would be to try and then roll that out. But we're still only in the early development stage of it, so that still needs to be reviewed and further discussions had. There'll be extra safety measures, so the fact that we can flag emergency issues like suspect packages, like I've mentioned, and also if there's any incidents, we could put those on the app if people are travelling. And it gives us the platform to add more functionality as it grows as well. So the idea is that it continually develop and grow over time. As I say, we're only at the very early stages of development, but you'll see in section 2.2 of the report, we've just highlighted in there our indicative plan at this stage. So phase 1 is looking at the loyalty scheme discounts. We'll be a bit of thinking of running competitions as well. There'll be data analysis around footfall to see whereabouts people are sort of walking around the city centre, which shops are getting the most footfall, and the ability for residents to update their personal profiles, as I've mentioned. Phase 2 would then be looking at whether we could incorporate any council events or services into that as well. But obviously we've got to just do some reviewing in terms of making sure that's full cost recovery, so it's not impacting the budget. And would also like to look at bus travel as well. And then phase 3 would be around the ability to scan QR codes and get more information around town and the reporting of suspect packages. So that's just an indicative timescale at the moment, because as I say, we are still only in the early phases. Digital inclusion we know is pretty high, to be honest, in Swansea. However, it is important everybody can access the app. So as part of the development, we're exploring ways in which we can support more people. So as you know, the lifelong learning team do an awful lot, not just putting on courses for members of the public, but also helping them explore options for devices. We're also looking at options for customer services staff to help people register on the app. We already, as you know, we in customer services, we help residents a lot with applications for things like blue badges and bus passes. So this would be a natural addition to that, helping people to log on to the app and being able to use it. And we're also looking at a process where maybe friends and family and carers might be able to also provide help and support, but also access to family members that want access to the app as well. And I'll be doing further work with Poverty Forum, the Disability Liaison Group, the 50+ network, and other networks that are around supporting the Welsh language as well. So that'll be further work as we move through the development phases. So development is only now just beginning, and the aim is for us to try and have something live by the by St David's Day is what we're aiming for. But as I say, it's just early stages, and the plan will be to keep coming back and talking to you how things are developing as we're learning as we go. So yeah, thank you, Chair, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Sarah. Will, like to see your hand up. Anybody else that's in the Gloucester room, if you put your hand up, then Sam will see you, because I won't be able to see it. Okay, Will.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks. Yeah, just a question really. Obviously, say we rather have started the development of the app. I'm surprised there's nothing sort of off the shelf for white label options around that other authorities have used. And if not, is there a market to potentially, while we're building that, offer a white label service for other counties to, you know, use the same features and whatever we're developing? I'm guessing they potentially might want as well, and we could commercialise that. Thanks.
Yes, I think that is an option. We BID did review some other things. There are some off-the-shelf packages which are used in some of the London boroughs, I believe, but it wasn't quite what was needed here. It has to be said, it was quite restrictive in terms of thinking about our local communities and what might be needed. So that was considered by BID as one of the options as well. But yes, that was one of the things we thought, that actually it might be an opportunity then to expand it, promote it to, I mean, you know, BID can promote it to other BIDs as well across the UK and see if other people, but also neighbouring cities, which would benefit residents then if they're travelling as well, travelling around or visiting elsewhere. So yeah, I think there are opportunities for it, and that we have been talking about that. So thanks.
Okay, great. Only one other point as well. If we're looking at internal payment infrastructure, I'm not sure if we are, but if you're making payments inside the app, that the authority could obviously benefit from that through percentages as well. But just something to think about maybe.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Will. Anybody else?
Yes, Chair. Councillor Mike White.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Sarah. A couple of points, if possible. You said obviously we were still in the infancy of promoting the scheme outside of the city centre, because, as you quite rightly say, we've got out of town little shopping areas, little local libraries, community centres. So there's scope there that we can perhaps extend that if and when the time comes. And also perhaps if ready, perhaps for a launch, perhaps the quadrant or the market, once we feel that we are ready, as an option. And in regards to bid involvement, have we got a clear understanding that obviously they are liaising with the existing traders and new traders regarding signing up to the scheme, and also would there be any incentives offered? Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Councillor White. Yes, bid are only in the infancy because it's a new development and we're still in the infancy with it. They're in the infancy as well of talking to traders. So the traders and retailers know that it's coming, but not any more detail at the moment. And obviously, it would be ideal if when we've got a point where we could show them something. I think that would probably be the most meaningful. I think, yes, in terms of a launch, I think that would be something we'd think would be a good thing to do. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if there'd be any incentive in joining up with the retailers. I'd have to go back to bid and ask them that, but I can do that and come back to you on that.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Chair.
Is there anybody else? No. Just a couple of things before I suggest that this comes back to us at a later date. Is that the next time maybe I know we were going to invite bid along, yeah, but they couldn't come to the well, I think it was the last meeting. But maybe they can come to the one our next meeting, and then we'll be joining up instead of us speaking by ear and then going away and speaking to bid, because they've got a big part to play in this. The other thing that jumps out with me is, what about the people who can't access apps? They may have a phone, but they would still don't know how to put an app in. I can just about do it anyway. So, and the other thing about Will saying about going out and about, if they're close to us, I'm not going to mention the places around the areas with us, but if you're going to buy something in some place for, say, £200, but you get 10% off in Swansea, then you come to Swansea to shop, wouldn't you? So that was I think, we want Swansea to be the preferred shopping centre then. And of course, when the people sign up to this, the outlying areas, obviously I live in Ponderlice, which is one of the furthest outlying areas, but will those shops and things have to sign up at a cost? So these things have got to be brought out, because members of bid, they pay every year towards bid. So yeah, that's got to be ironed out as well. I can't think of anything else. Anybody else got anything? So I've spoken to Sarah about this. So can I suggest that we bring this back in January? Sarah, I'm waiting for you to nod your head.
Sorry, I was so super pretty then. Yes, absolutely. From my perspective, January is good. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I'm going to suggest is, if something comes out with bid and it's going to be a little bit sensitive, then we'll have a working group before, because working groups are not recorded. So whoever comes here from bid are free to say, otherwise they may come to one of these meetings and they won't say what they really want to say. So we'll put it up for January. Okay. Thanks, Sarah. Off we go. Prepare for January. Thank you very much. So we go on now to the work plan. So bring Phil in now, because if we're looking at our work plan, I think what we're going to look at next was the Tower River corridor. So Phil, are you going to come in here now?
Yeah, we've got a couple of items identified for the next meeting, which is the 24th of November. We've got the Swansea-based strategy. So Jeff Bacon would be able to come along and give a high-level sort of summary of where that is at the moment. And just taking up your point, Chair, about commercial sensitivity of issues, it may be that following that high-level discussion, that a separate sort of workshop type discussion is held privately then to look at some of the commercial opportunities there. The second item is the Tower Riverside Corridor strategy. So my colleague Gail Evans, who's leading on that strategy, she'll come along on the 24th and she will give a report on that strategy as well. So there's 2 items there. I'm not sure if you want to split them up or have them both at the same meeting.
Well, I think we'll speak about that in the next couple of weeks, Phil.
Okay.
Because if one is going to take a while, because I think we'll have a number of questions from Will on the Swansea Bay strategy,
Yeah.
and the other one then, the river corridor, we won't be able to stop Mike White. So
No
we'll have a
comment.
chat to see what they're going to be like, because like you said, they are introducing them because they both can be very sensitive, which obviously will work against us if it gets out into the media.
Yeah. So maybe you could have both at a sort of high level and then follow-on sessions then to get into more of the substantive detail. But obviously we can discuss that, Chair.
Yeah. So are we happy to take those 2 as the next? We can put them in as November and December, because I know it's December's in the middle of Christmas shopping, because it'll be on the 22nd. So well, we'll see how that goes. Okay, are we happy with that? Thank you very much. Another quick meeting. And as long as we move forward with the rewards app, I thought we might have had it for Christmas, like, you know, and save people some money, but there we are. We'll ask Ben Smith if he can give them discounts. Okay, thank you very much for that, everyone. Hopefully I'll be better for the next one.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mike.
Thanks.
Yeah.